when we were in primary school, we'd take a bus to school, right? And we lived in Northcliffe. So there was this corner house where the bus stop used to be. It's a corner house. And then whenever like our mom and stuff would like walk us there to the bus stop, my mom would always say, guys, I love this house. One day, God's going to bless us with this house. She'd always say that.
Love that. Beautiful.
And I used to look at it, and it was a beat up house. You know, I was young. I was like, oh, this thing is garbage. Why would you like this? But about in 2022, I was just driving back home, and then I found that for sale, that same house at the bus stop we used to take on the way to school. I was like, what? So I just took a chance at the stop. I was like, okay.
All right, people. I'm back with another installment of In Conversation with Rudy Samuel. Today, I got someone, we call each other the blueprint. I don't know why, but that's what we are for one another. Someone I've known for many, many years. Our parents are friends. Shout out to Mama Fati, hello. Shout out to his aunt, Sister Romantic.
Yeah.
Yes, Naisvic Tshituka. There's so much to say about this guy. He's doing so much. He has done a lot, and he's going to do even more.
Amen.
So I think I'll let him, tell us a little bit of what he does, because if I have to break it down, we'll be here the whole day. So ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Mr. Naisvic Tshituka.
Jeez.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
My G.
That's a powerful introduction. I don't know if I can match that. My name is Naisvic. I am an architectural designer. I restore old buildings, basically, make ugly things beautiful. And I graduated with honors currently from Wits in architecture. So there's that. My free time, I love playing chess. I am very active, play a lot of sports, read a lot of philosophical books, and more like into anime. It's a bit of a nerd as well. So
Yeah, that's him being humble, but it's fine. We'll break down the walls as we go. I think I want to go back to the beginning, because without the beginning, there's no you today, the foundation of your life. What was it like growing up in your household, and how did those early experiences set your mindset today?
Okay, so I think I always start by saying the greatest gift God gave me are my parents, and the greatest gift my parents gave me are my brothers. So there's...
you're one of four, isn't it?
I'm one of four, I'm the first of four boys. But if you see us, you might think I'm the third. There's four of us. It's myself, Vincent, Emmanuel, Kevin. We grew up, four of us. My mom and my dad are very prominent figures in our lives, taught us everything we know now. And there was a lot of adversity and competition growing up in a house full of boys. We always pushed ourselves to be better and almost to have an edge over the other. My father always instilled discipline, and my mom always instilled compassion. So it was a good blend of both as well. We came from very humble beginnings. We grew up mostly together in one room, 2 bedrooms, my mom and then us on the opposite side of my parents' place. And I think we grew up with very strong Christian values, which I think defines us as individuals now. And went to church together all the time. Came to South Africa, I think about 24 years ago. Spent most of our lives here in Joburg. Went to school here. I played sports here. And I think that is the most, I
think people see you today and they think it was easy getting to where you are at today. All this before the age of 30. You mentioned something there, very humble beginnings. What did you go through in those moments that told you today that I never want to go back there? Although I know you're open to it, I guess we spoke off camera, but what keeps you pushing every single day to say, I'm not going back to that?
So I think seeing how much it took for my parents to keep us well fed was one, and also keep us sheltered from how difficult it was for them to keep us to keep us comfortable. My parents worked very hard. My dad was never home often. It's a typical Congolese household. And my mom was always at home and nurturing us and whatnot. And then seeing how hard it was for them reminded me that I need to kind of work so that I don't necessarily make it difficult for not only my partner, but also for my kids to have to witness us go through that hardship as well.
Yeah. And obviously dad not being there, you being the firstborn, what impact did that have on your life?
Oh man, so I always say, being the firstborn, you grow up with a lot of ideas. So you grow up being told who you must be before you are who you should be.
Yeah.
And I grew up with a lot of different ideas of what I thought I should be and whatnot. And to be honest, I don't necessarily hate that, because it pushes you to be the best version of yourself very quickly. So you mature very quickly in being in this position. And I think the only thing is we don't give ourselves enough grace, which I think is we're always so hard on ourselves. We don't actually give ourselves we don't give ourselves enough patience and opportunity to kind of like mature. So I think I've learned to like give myself a window period whenever I do something, and allow myself to fail again and again and again until I feel comfortable in what I do.
Yeah. So obviously, because I do know you in a personal capacity, you did something to your parents. You and your brothers got together and decided something. You guys told your parents that it's fine, you guys can retire, we got this. That's a very big thing to say.
Yeah.
That's a powerful shift. What did that conversation feel like with you and your brothers? And then how did you guys go and tell your parents, you guys can retire, we got this?
Yeah. So I always say this, right? You can't achieve anything in life alone. You always need a team, regardless of how small the task is. And I think the greatest team I have are my brothers, and we're not that far off in age. We're very close in age. So kudos to my parents for sorting that out very quickly. We came together, I think, I remember the year very clearly. It was this COVID year. We were all living together. And all three of us, except Kevin, who's the youngest born, we all had jobs. And then we, obviously with COVID, things were very difficult, and we were all working. And I think we decided at that point, we all came together. We spent a lot of time together as a family. And we decided that we're going to put our best foot forward and support our family the best way we know how. And we didn't have a blueprint on how we're going to do it. We just say everyone has their own responsibility, and everybody earns different as well. So everyone will put what they can, and everyone will do what they can within their strengths and their capabilities. So we made a call during COVID, and I think since then it's been almost like second nature. We don't think twice about it. We just do it impulsively now. It feels wrong not to do it. You actually feel shameful, like, sheesh, I'm actually not helping out at home. So it started through COVID. So, but in many ways, it gave my parents a sense of duty. It's a weird way. When you put your parents in a good position, they don't ever misuse that. They always use it to kind of give back to their kids. It's a weird thing. So my parents have also kind of helped us to be the best version of ourselves in our giving. They probably give way more than we could ever give them.
Yeah, you speak very highly about your parents, and I'm sure that they must be proud of you and your brothers for what you're doing. What is something that your mom always told you that you still hold with you today? Because considering you spend so much time with her.
I think my mom always tells me that, Vico, regardless of whatever happens in life, I will always support you. And I'll always like root for you. And I always say sometimes in life you just need to hear someone say that, because we get in our heads so often and we're not sure. Exactly. You get in your head so often, you always question what you're doing and whatnot. And I like making big calls. It's like, I don't know, I think I inherited it from my father. I like making big calls.
You don't shy away from responsibility.
Yeah, I'm saying if I see something big, I'm like, okay, can I handle this thing? And then I find out while I'm there. And my mom always told me, like, regardless of what happens, I'm always going to support you. And it helps me to take a leap of faith, because I always know if it doesn't work, I'll just go back home.
100%. So, you know, there's no shame in that. And you said you came here at a very young age. Did you ever find yourself, or I'm sure you did, but I want to ask, finding yourself too South African for the Congolese, too Congolese for the South African? How did you navigate that? And do you still go through that today, or you're over it?
So now it's weird. People assume I'm from like America sometimes. Some people assume I'm from like the UK, but like people like South Africans don't think I'm Congolese, because they don't think I could be like light skin and Congolese at the same time. So but like there's real people like real Mulubas that know like this is our boy. This is our boy. When I came to Africa, it was very difficult to transition. My accent was awful as well, so it was quite clear that I wasn't suited for the first couple of years. And then after a while, I climatized, and then I did become a bit more, especially my teenage phase, more South African than I was Congolese. And then post high school, I did almost balance everything out now. There's a point where I also became but too Congolese for the sake of being Congolese. You know, you just feel duty bound to be as Congolese as you possibly could be.
It became popular now.
I'm like, guys, I'm tired of eating fufu every day. It's like, who am I trying to impress here?
Yeah.
So I did balance that out eventually.
Yeah. And obviously, you know, your brother's on the brink of something huge this year. Crossing fingers. I wanted to touch about that. They're going to potentially make their Springbok debut this year. They finally got their documents. Everything is sorted and stuff. How does that make you feel? Because they went to small high schools. I was in the same high school as them, Northcliffe High, shout out. And we weren't known for rugby. We were known for athletics. Myself, my personal best, 100 meters, is 10.9.
Yeah, I remember you were
Shaquille Omar, 10.3, yeah, cool, no problem. But now you, how does it make you feel that, first of all, they got to play professional sports, and they're on the brink of playing at the highest level possible for the green and gold?
So I'll take it back a bit, right? We all grew up playing rugby at home, obviously, because we're quite big. And I started off and I hyped the sport up because like we all played soccer at first, but like we were never like good enough to play like A-team soccer. So I remember going to high school and I told the guys when I came back home, guys, there's a sport. I promise you, you'll be good at it. It's called rugby. All you have to do is land at people and like no one's going to tackle you. So we got into it and we were quite good at it because of our size and our agility as well. And then I remember the first sign was when Vincent made it for like the academy week. And we went to different schools at the time, but that was like the milestone, especially coming from like Northcliffe House, which is a small school. It was a milestone for him to make that achievement. And I remember standing there, I think, geez, I can't believe my brother gets to play. And everyone always asking me.
And it's just academy level.
It's just academy level, but that was such a big thing for us as well because we love the sport. And I remember thinking to myself, like, geez, I can't believe it gets to be my brother because it's like there's all these people. And God chose my brothers.
And there's a lot of people.
And there's a lot.
You know,
forget about
and
there's
those
even
schools.
Like, bro, there's other Congolese, Nigerians, Ghanaians, giant humans.
Yeah.
But God chose my brothers. And then I couldn't understand that. I'm like, and I very clearly remember then Manu made Craven Week, which is like the highest Craven Week at Northcliffe. I couldn't believe it. And I started like, at that point, there was no one in the world that could make me less like arrogant about my brothers. I'd take every chance I could to like show off basically. And after that, Vincent got into under 19. We were all playing rugby at the time, and then everyone would ask me like, "Why didn't you go pro? Don't you want to go pro?" There's a part of me that did, but I don't think it was my calling because I promise you, every single time I tried to go pro, every single time I tried to go pro, God would give me like a serious injury. Like just before I'm about to like have my breakthrough, I get injured. But my brothers never got injured, like regardless of what season they were in. So I always looked at that like, what's the purpose behind that? Then Vincent played Currie Cup, and then seeing him
in South African context, Currie Cup is huge. Yeah.
Like us, like these nobodies coming from small schools, no rugby like upbringing from primary school, traveling here, starting a life like here, and being able to play Currie Cup and seeing all that was so personal. It felt so heartwarming and it's very emotional point in my life for me seeing him make it there as well. So I think seeing my brothers play rugby reminds me of how good God is and how amazing his works is.
And how faithful he is, bro.
Because it's like you can have plans. Because like I remember very clearly, we always used to talk about like, guys, imagine one day when you're 25, you get to play Super Rugby. We'd make those jokes like at 25,
they've done it.
You could play Super Rugby.
The biggest team in South Africa right now.
No, dude, they're like in the early 20s.
They're friends with Sia Kolisi.
Bro, when I see,
he's busy posting on his Instagram, your brothers.
Dude, when I see,
come on, Sia Kolisi, bro.
When I see those guys next to him, I kid you not, I screenshot every single picture. I don't care what I don't care if they have their face turning towards like the back of the camera. I will always take a screenshot of it because I cherish it. I don't take it for granted as well. It's just such an amazing experience. I can't explain how good it makes me feel.
So now obviously you are in architecture, they're in rugby. How do you guys manage it all together? How do you guys come together and make it work as a family?
So I've always been a creative growing up, and I from a young age I was always like making things, and like I'd always win these like local competitions on like creativity and artwork and stuff like that. And for a very long time I told my parents, I think when I was 11, I wanted to become an architect. So I'd always start like making models and stuff. My brothers would witness me start like gradually transition into that. And initially, they have no interest in architecture, but seeing what I was able to do with existing structures kind of sparked the imagination to be like, okay, well, what is possible with architecture is maybe what they didn't expect. So I think now how we do it is, especially at the stage that we are in our lives now, we sit down and we envision what we can do in spaces. So they're not necessarily well aware of how architecture works, but they appreciate good design. And I think most people do that as well. So it's the same thing with them. They appreciate good design, and then we work through it together most of the time. We just have big conversations. Like, so Manu's on the point of buying a new place as well.
Course,
so they always consult with me as to what you think about this and that and that, and ways you see the equity and return over time. And then I give them my expertise on this stuff like that.
And it actually is a nice segue into where I wanted to go, because a long time ago, we're just chilling on our phones and we see this post. This guy buys a house for 3 million rand and then decides to flip it up. Now the house costs 6 million rand. So tell us about that, Mr. Blueprint. How did you get yourself in a position to buy a house for 3 million rand? And then obviously through your works and stuff, you managed to, make the house now cost double. That's not luck, that's vision. As you're also talking about envisioning things. How did you pull it off? Tell us from A to Z.
Yeah, she's A to Z. Hopefully we have enough time. So I grew up firstly watching my father like being a businessman. I've never seen my father being employed before. So seeing that and growing up with that mindset also kind of instills certain principles in you as an individual. So I started working in the industry, architectural industry, 21. So I was quite young. I was very fortunate to work for a very talented young architect that took me in for no good reason. I say, but I always tell him it's a destiny. I tell him it's destiny. I'm here. It's destiny. I'm supposed to be working for you. And he always make a joke like, I just chose you. I was like, no, there's something. But anyway, and I worked for him for a lot, and I learned a lot under his leadership as well. And I think mixing that with my will to take chances allowed me to open multiple businesses. So from 21, I've just been opening business after business after business.
That's great, bro.
That's great. And not only in architecture. So I have business in. I tried mining, I tried agriculture, farming, civil, all sorts of businesses, and one of them as well. I think in about 2022 did very well, and I then opened Naisvic after that, which is like my business, construction business. Initially it was into mining, and I kind of transitioned into like a passion project, because mining is so tedious. It's painful. I don't hate it, but I don't really enjoy it. So after that, I had a very good break here. I had a whole presentation at the Cape Town and Durban and stuff. Like really, people bought into like my vision, which was like a Congo plan for 2028. Presented the whole thing, and really worked out, and then I got my first big payday. And then I thought, what am I going to do with this money? I'm going to blow it, but then guidance, my parents came and was like, no, do something wise with it. So we had a strict budget and whatnot, and I went shopping for houses, and my vision was to always transform something into something I felt personal, because I always tell people this.
That's my next point. Yeah, go ahead.
There's no such thing as an existing house that embodies you. That's what I don't believe it. Everything needs to be modified to embody you, so it needs to relate to you. So I remember we spent like about a year looking for like a good place, and we were very close to buying another one, but then by the grace of God, we bumped into the one that I have now, and the whole story behind this is quite beautiful. Actually, the whole story is quite beautiful. So
please share.
So when we were in primary school, we'd take a bus to school, right? And we lived in Northcliffe. So there was this corner house where the bus stop used to be. It's a corner house, and then whenever like our mom and stuff would like walk us there to the bus stop, my mom would always say, "Guys, I love this house. One day, God's gonna bless us with this house." She'd always say that.
Love that. Beautiful.
And I used to look at, and it was beat up house. I was young. I was like, "Oh, this thing is garbage. Why would you like this thing?" But about in 2022, I was just driving back home, and then I found the for sale at that same house at the bus stop we used to take on the way to school. I was like, "What?" So I just took a chance when it stopped. I was like, "I can walk around and see." And the house was worse than it was before. It was beat down completely atrocious. And we walked in there, and I said, "I think I can do something here." So the whole the objective there was to make sure I could get it at a good price. I sat down with the guy, and it's crazy how everything works out. So the guy was in construction as well. The person, he's like in his 80s. He had like maybe a good couple of years left in him, God willing. And he was in construction. He had all these tools and stuff like that. And initially he didn't want to sell to me, but I saw all his stuff. I was like, dude, this is so cool. Can I see all your stuff? And then he showed me his old projects and stuff. He's a guy from like Russia. I was like, what are you doing here? And I think he kind of liked me after our interaction. Like, this kid's kind of cool. He saw my passion for the whole thing. And he's like, okay, cool, I'll sell you the house. And he was able to give it to me at a really good bargain. So I was like, sure. So everyone's like, cool, why do you spend that much money on that beat out place? That land's like half a hectare. I basically bought land, and that's also one of the reasons why I chose it. So I applied for the bond and everything, and I told myself, good, look, I'm big on signs and wonders, right? I don't ask for signs and wonders, but when I see a sign, I don't take it for granted. So I said, we had enough money to make a deposit, but I said, if God can give me 100% on this, I know it's the one. So we go to the bond, we get 100% bonds. Perfect. So at this time, like, my parents don't know. So,
of course,
okay, cool, they don't know. So I surprised them. I'm like, guys, let's go for a ride and whatnot. I make sure all the paperwork's done. I come in, and then I presented them, guys, this is the place again. And my mom started just breaking down. She couldn't believe it. It was exactly 10 years ago when we had that conversation where she showed me that place. So now after I renovated the same bus stop that we used to take, I kind of like fixed it all up. I built it up again. So like when people use that bus stop, it's something. But it was just this old, like uncomfortable space to be in. And then we kind of just like revamped it and brought new life into this like space that used to be quite significant to me and my brothers as well.
I know that you are hard on yourself. I know that you have high standards for yourself, but how do you really feel within yourself that you've managed to do something that significant, especially when it comes from, you know, your mom wanting it and stuff? Like, how does it feel in your heart, bro? I like to know what people are thinking in their minds.
Speechless. I think a lot of the times, even till this day, I think I only finished building it last year, Jan. So it's been about a year, and every time I'm in that space, it doesn't register properly. I remember very clearly walking out of the place with my parents and my family, my brothers included. I was telling them the vision for the place. I was like, I'm going to break this thing, and I'm going to put a window there, and I'm going to make this thing curve, and this thing needs to look like it's hugging you. So this wall should curve in 3 dimensions, so it looks like it's hugging you. And they were like, what
are you saying,
guys saying? But they were supportive, so they pretended to buy into the vision. And during the construction process, I very clearly remember people came in and said, like, oh, I see what you meant when you meant it was hugging you. And I think that actualizing that vision is the most satisfying thing ever. And it's I think I get quite emotional thinking about it as well. Having my parents love visiting me. You just assume I'm their favorite son at this point. but they always come bring the camping chairs and just sit, because it's just so much space. They sit and they just like enjoy the space. And I always go take a picture and stuff now, because I always look back at the time when I remember God saying, making her feel the need to own that place, and now that she's in it, she's just enjoying the fruit of her labor. So it's very satisfying.
Tell us about some of the struggles you go through as a businessman, because again, they always see the lights, they always see the nice stuff. Tell us about some of the stuff, because you have a construction company, Naisvic. Shout out to you for starting that. What are some of the stuff you go through, and how do you overcome it?
So, geez, man, I had quite a couple of different companies. I had a mining one and scrap one, another one called Trans African Metals that didn't go so well for some reason. It's full of anxiety. I think owning a business, you need to kind of get over you need to quickly get over anxiety, because you're always anxious, and you always look for certainty, and that's why people look for like jobs, because there's certainty. Regardless of how tough it is, I know for a fact at the end of the month it's this. But when you own a business, there's a lot of uncertainty and there's a lot of responsibility. So people look up to you and they make demands, right? And then you need to live up to that as well. And that sort of pressure, I say, it takes a very long time to feel comfortable being uncomfortable there. I think the very first 2 years and I'm very grateful, because I started doing this thing from like a young age. I was 21, so it's like I burnt so many times. I made so many mistakes for like the first 3 years. I only started really getting the mojo, I think, after like in my mid-20s. So I'd say it's very difficult, and there's no days off. I would assume that, geez, I can just take leave when I want to. But it's like when you take leave, it shows on the payslip, like, yeah, you took leave that day, and it affects people. So you never really take time off, and you're always thinking, always like looking for ways to better your stuff, and like so it's. You never actually, the only break you take are deliberate breaks. So you need to kind of deliberately take a break and make an effort the way you would to go to gym. Otherwise, you're just always thinking and planning. I like it. I fall in love with the process as well. The uncertainty even. It's like, because it also allows me to lean more into God in that process. I'm like, geez, God, I don't know how we're going to do this.
Yeah.
But like, I'm just going to trust you. And then often more times than none, he always pulls through in the most unexpected ways as well. Yeah. So it's a roller coaster. I say highs and lows.
Yeah. Talking about roller coasters and lows. Yeah. You've been through some stuff in your personal life, which we're going to touch on, but not too deep. Obviously, there's limits. You were engaged a couple of years ago, and then that engagement broke off. Oftentimes, we are always told that you can't walk away. Like, once you make this decision, you need to stay and stuff like that. Not to implicate anybody, just a disclaimer. How did that period make you feel? Like that low that you went through, like ending off this engagement, something that was very public when it was confirmed that you were engaged, and all of a sudden you had to pull it out. How did that make you feel? Not what happened, but how did that period of your life make you feel?
I think that time, so I was in my mid-20s at the time, and I was very idealistic. I had certain ideas of what I thought I should be at that stage of my life, and certain milestones I thought I had to tick, right? And like I said, you learn the hard way sometimes, and I realized in the midst of everything that I was losing myself for this idealized image of myself, which wasn't even me, to be honest, at some point. So I felt very conflicted because I was going against what I thought was good, and conflicted because I felt duty bound to please others, and sacrifice my own sanity in the process. So it was, I think, the couple of months leading up to it, and it was very sudden. There wasn't like a build up. It wasn't. Everyone's like, "Oh, dude, you probably slept on it for like a week." No, it was like it happened like within like 3 days, and one thing happened, then another thing happened, and then it led to the one thing that just completely like kind of drew out of control. And I think the biggest thing that helped me go through it, like I said, was having that support system where it's like my mom would come to me and be like, "I will always support you regardless." And I just had to explain it to her, because my father wasn't too keen as well. He's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I had to like really walk them through it as well, because the truth is, I always say, your parents want what's best for you, but sometimes they don't always know what's best for you. They have an assumption of what's best for you, but you will always know at some point what's best for you.
Especially, at your age,
Exactly. So it was really hard to manage the HR after that. It was awful having to speak with family and stuff like that.
I kept thinking about that. And obviously, because you're going through so much, sorry to cut you, I was always like, I don't want to message him because he's going to think I want to fish. So when I see him in person, I'll have this conversation with him, and then he will open up to me and I'll open up to him. That's why I never messaged you. And I always wanted to just check up on you and say, bruv, are you okay? Because at that time, I had just got engaged as well. And I know the realities of this thing. And I'm like, wow, if he could walk away, that means it didn't work out, you know? So you can go on,
Yeah, like, look, I'm an advocate for, don't quote me on this, I'm an advocate for people learning. It's okay to go find out. Sometimes you have to find out the hard way. I learned very quickly that where I was going was not going to serve her and myself. And I had to make another big call. And like I said, I've been making big calls for so long that I'm not necessarily shy of making big calls anymore. So that first one, I have nothing bad. She was a great person. I also had flaws in my character definitely that was it was hard to miss in that relationship as well. And I think it was a good thing that I ended it, although there was a lot of drama that came from that. it was a very good thing that I ended it, because I'm in a much better place now. I think she's also in a much better place now. I don't believe in doing things for the sake of doing it. I think that's very dangerous.
And how did you deal with public backlash? Because you did make it public. How did you deal with that from society?
Look, if you know me, you know that I care very little about people that don't matter to me. Like, if I don't have an emotional attachment to you, then you could think I'm a douchebag, and I'm not gonna like think too much. I'm very loud by nature. I'm very like, I like taking up space. So
you're an extrovert.
Yeah, in some way, yeah. And I'm not shy to make, like I said, big calls. So if I feel strongly about something, I'll claim it. If it doesn't work out, I'll also claim it. Like, it didn't work out. I'll never shy away from my decisions. Yeah, so the public backlash, I had a lot of people ask me questions. I just blue tick them. I mean, people ask, I just blue tick them. And then if the right people ask, then I'll answer like, okay, I'm not shy to talk about it. I talk about it very comfortably. But I can see sometimes when I probably shouldn't talk about it now. So yeah, I'm not too fazed about public backlash, to be honest.
And I appreciate that answer, because oftentimes the public likes to put people in a place of, you know, guilt and shame. And so shout out to you for that. And, you know, we do thank God for a second chance.
Yeah.
You know, something great is happening towards the end of the year. We are excited for that. Thank God for redemption and restoration. And we wish her well, Mrs. You know who. And, you know, you kept talking about your mom and your faith and stuff. I want to just, you know, find out to you, what does your faith mean to you? We're both in the same church, Rema, unless you left. But
no,
we're both in the same church.
I was there last week Sunday, bro.
Shout out Rema Church.
Amen.
Yeah, what does your faith mean to you?
Sheesh. So, oh man, it's a funny thing being a young guy trying to make something of themselves, because you find yourself, you deviate from your belief, your core systems a lot on your pursuit to what you think is greatness. And I think my faith is what kind of, it's gonna sound corny, it's the path that I use en route. It's almost like the GPS. And I might know where I'm going, but the GPS will always tell me the quickest and most feasible way to get there. And I think, like I said, the Bible's the best help. It's the best example I can think of in terms of like guiding me through life and uncertainties and whatnot. And to be honest, it's given me everything I have now, so I can only testify. And I always try to make the example that you will know me by my fruits, one, and you'll know I serve a living God by my life. If my life looks like I don't serve a living God, then I'm not doing something right. So my belief systems are core feature in my identity.
So when you're faced with big pressures and big decisions or self-doubt, what anchors you?
Oh man, self-doubt. I struggled with self-doubt for a very long time. What I do now is I just remind myself who God said I am. And it's not like there's a scripture that says that. It's there are moments in life where God has revealed to me who I am. And then there's days when I forget who I am. And then whenever that happens, I just try to reinforce that vision, that voice I heard, who God said I am, my calling over my life. And that usually helps a lot, yeah.
So you've achieved so much in your life. You've graduated, you're getting married, you have multiple businesses, you have done this, your brothers have done that, they are going to do this. At this stage of your life, what actually drives you now?
Oh man, I had a conversation with my best friend Eddie about something very similar 2 weeks ago. I said, I don't ever allow myself to get comfortable, and I don't like to imagine that I have it all. I like to test God, and I like to give him a challenge. I think more than often we limit how much God can give us, or how much we're allowed to ask from God as well. I'm driven by, like, I always ask myself, how far can I do this? How far can I take life? And that's the thing. I lost my uncle, who was like an older figure to me about 4 years ago now. And he instilled like certain principles of like, you should, he said the funny thing. He says, you should ride life like a horse and don't let life ride you, because there's always a battle between life. Life is trying to like get you in submission and make you tap out. And then you need to kind of get life in the submission and make it tap out. And then in its way to tapping out, you need to make it like say, okay, put your finger in your eye, like, you know what I'm saying? Like spit, like make life do what you want it to do. And I keep telling people, you can have the dream life. It is possible. It comes with work and whatnot, but you can be very close to having the dream life if you put yourself in the right positions to do that. So I don't think I'm very blessed. I have a very good life, but I don't think it's the life that I want just yet. You know, I'm very clear when I make my demands. Like, I want everything. And I don't feel shy to say I want everything.
Yeah.
I want this, I want that, and I want it. I don't know how I'm going to get it, but I'm planning on getting it. I'm not shy to take ownership of stuff in life as well. Because life is for the living. My idea is like, why did God put Adam and Eve on earth? What's the purpose? Why didn't he just take them straight to heaven? It's because God created this beautiful thing. It's like, look at this thing that I've given you. Look, go explore it. It's big. This time. You have all this access. Enjoy my creation. And life is such a beautiful thing, but we get so caught up with like work and stress and
problems.
Everything that we forget how beautiful life is. And I think if we put ourselves in a position to just take ownership of life and be like, okay, cool, it's not perfect, but I can tweak it here. If I do this thing's going to happen. If I pull this here, that thing's going to happen. And you design it. You design life the way you want it to. Then I think you can do anything. I've been calling myself, before I even started architecture school, an architect. I've been saying, everyone knows, I'm an architect. So everything I did was to be where, be where I am now. So if you take ownership of anything, I think you can achieve it.
Yeah, and I got a question from Olu here, Olu Deji. She asked, what is something you're so proud of and why?
I am. No, that's a touchy subject. I am very proud of what my brothers and I were able to give my parents. I think.
I didn't want to talk about that, but go ahead.
Yeah, I saw my father. My father's a tough man, very, very tough man. I saw him try for the first time at my first graduation, and I saw what that meant to him. It meant something to me, but it felt more personal seeing him react that way. And I see how grateful my mom is as a response to what we've done. So I think I'm just seeing where we come from and where we're going. I think that's just something I'm really proud of. I'm not too finicky about things I do, like businesses and buildings and houses and all that. I'm not too attached to those things. I'm attached to the effects that those things bring.
I love that answer,
I love seeing the face of like my parents. I remember I had this one project called Oasis, and when we started, it was a very ambitious project, and my father had no clue how I was going to do it, and we ran into so many like issues along the way, and he was getting like doubtful as well. And there was this one time I managed to do the impossible, which is like my ethos, just try to do the impossible. And I remember we finished the project and we were driving back home. It was far, it was like in Mpumalanga. We were driving back home, and he just looked at me, he's like, I'm so proud of you. I can't believe it. I had no clue how you're going to do that. And he takes that, and then I see him in his ventures trying some of the stuff that I sort of done. So it's the effects that good works bring. And I start to understand why it's so important to do good works, because we just assume it's to make God happy, but it's to improve the quality of not only your life, but the lives of other people as well.
I have another question from Instagram from the sweet Nelia, my sister.
Okay.
She just simply asked, how did he do it? Jeez. Of all the things that you've done, how did you do it?
I'm not even trying to be funny. When they say, how do you do it? I'm like, do what? Sometimes. It's probably the house, I'm assuming.
No, everything, bro.
Yeah. How do I do it? I wish I had an answer to that question. I can only refer to some of the conversations I have with my mates as well. I always tell my guys this, right? If you really want something, allow yourself to make as many mistakes to get it. Right? There's always this assumption that if you want something, you need to know how you're going to get it. It was like nobody knows how they're going to get it. Elon Musk didn't know how he was going to achieve what he did. He's just like, okay, I just want to go to Mars. How? Nobody knew how to go to Mars. It's like they're going to figure it out. So you need to put yourself in a position to make as much mistakes as you can. And when I started in my industry as well, I wasn't like a special kid. I wasn't special in any means, but I made so many mistakes. I'm shocked I wasn't fired in the first 2 years. But there was a certain vigor that liberated me from every other employee at the time, where it's like, okay, cool, he's really passionate, so we're going to allow him to make those mistakes. So you need to be in a position, and I always tell people, your 20s are the years of mistakes. it sounds crazy to say it, but you can't actualize yourself in your 20s. Even Jesus had to get through his 20s. Like, I can't go die in my 20s. I'm not ready for that.
Yeah.
So you need to actualize yourself in your 20s and get everything out your system. And I think I've just been really fortunate because my father instilled that principle in me. So from the moment I was like 20, I've just been making mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. And after a while, you get slightly better at doing that. You make less mistakes. And then you say, okay, cool. I understand if I do this, the bank will say this. And then that guy will do this. And I'll get that. And I can get that going. So it's like there's a ripple effect. And you gather more knowledge, the more things you do. So just put yourself in uncomfortable positions and just make as much mistakes as you can.
That's powerful. And lastly, bro, for young African dreamers listening to this who come from little or who come from much, what's the message to them about rising above, building wealth, and creating a legacy?
I say, try to look for people that have what you have, what you're looking for, and learn from them. Like I said, the biggest gift I was given was I had a mentor, a young architect, a young enthusiastic architect that I could sort of like suck from, and I literally sucked every ounce of energy I could from him, and I wasn't shy about it. So learn from the people that have what you have now and try to almost do it as a service to them. They need to benefit more than you, because at the end of the day, you can't do anything for tomorrow. You need to do something for like 5-10 years, and you always need to kind of think long-term, foresight. You're planting a seed so that it grows into something meaningful in the future. So like when I bought my place, I had no funds to it, but I bought it knowing that eventually I actually thought I was going to finish in my 30s, to be honest. So a lot of the times God facilitates like audacity. Like you need to have audacity to go kill a giant, to go kill Goliath. You need audacity, and God likes to facilitate audacity.
No, man, dude, I don't even know what to say, because I've been pushing this story for a while, and thank you for accepting the invite.